The residents of Coldwater still talk in hushed tones about what happened on the night of October 17, 2014. It was a night when a young nursing student, Hannah Walker, was driving home from a late shift and simply vanished. The road she disappeared on, Coldwater Road, was already notorious for strange sightings, malfunctioning electronics, and other unexplained disappearances. For years, her case has baffled law enforcement, terrified the locals, and left behind one of the most disturbing collections of evidence ever found. This is her story. Hannah Walker finished her shift at Coldwater General Hospital at 11:52 p.m. Security cameras captured her stepping out into the dark, foggy parking lot, rubbing her tired eyes. She made a quick call to her brother. "I'll be home in 20 minutes," she said. "Don't wait up." The call ended abruptly with a loud burst of static, something her brother said had never happened on that line before. Hannah got into her aging blue sedan. The security camera footage showed her headlights flickering erratically as she drove off into the dense fog. That was the last confirmed moment anyone saw her alive. Coldwater Road was infamous among the locals. Drivers had long reported unsettling experiences on that lonely stretch of pavement. They spoke of shadowy shapes darting across the road only to vanish instantly, sudden pockets of freezing cold air even on warm nights, and radio stations that would suddenly turn to indecipherable, whispering voices. Headlights were known to dim without any warning, plunging drivers into near total darkness. That night, the fog was especially thick, clinging to the road like a living entity, coiling tightly around her car as she drove slowly through it. At 12:07 a.m., she managed to send her brother a voice note. In it, you can hear the worry in her voice. "My headlights keep dimming. I don't like this road tonight. Something feels off." Then, just moments later, another message arrived. It was only 10 seconds long. It wasn't words. It was just breathing. Fast, shaky, terrified breathing. At 12:12 a.m., other drivers on Coldwater Road began reporting a lone car pulled over on the shoulder, its hazard lights blinking through the oppressive fog. Witnesses later noted that the fog seemed heavier, almost swirling around that specific vehicle. One driver slowed down to see if everything was okay. He later told police he saw a figure standing behind the car. But it wasn't right. He described it as being extremely tall and unnaturally still. Its face was a blur in the fog, but the shape just wasn't human. Panicked, the driver sped away. He would later recount, it looked like it was leaning over her car window, watching her. Just 2 minutes later, at 12:14 a.m., a 911 operator received a call from Hannah's phone. The recording of that call is now considered one of the most chilling pieces of audio evidence ever documented in a missing person case. The call began with Hannah whispering frantically, "Someone's outside my car. I can't see their face. They're not moving." The operator tried to calm her down, asking for her location, but Hannah's whispers grew more panicked. "It's tapping on the glass, but it's not using hands." A strange, rhythmic, metallic clicking sound can be heard on the recording, echoing through the call. It was completely unnatural. Then a deep, distorted voice spoke. It wasn't Hannah, and it didn't sound like any human voice the operator had ever heard. It said 2 words, "Open the door." Hannah screamed, a raw, piercing sound of pure terror. And then the call went dead. Police arrived at the scene just 14 minutes later. But what they found only deepened the mystery. Hannah's car was right where the witness had seen it, pulled over on the side of the road. The driver's side door was wide open. The keys were still in the ignition, and the engine was cold. Her phone lay on the ground nearby, its screen shattered. Along the side of the car, investigators found long, deep scratches, 5 parallel lines, perfectly spaced. The air around the car was unnaturally cold, and the dense forest that bordered the road was completely silent. No crickets, no birds, no sound at all. But there was no sign of Hannah. She was gone. 2 days later, the investigation took an even stranger turn. A local hiker who had been trekking deep in Coldwater Forest brought a small USB drive to the police station. He said he found it lying near the base of an old oak tree miles from where Hannah's car was discovered. What was on that drive terrified everyone who watched it. The footage was shaky and dark, clearly filmed in a panic, but investigators were able to confirm it was recorded from Hannah's phone just before it was dropped and shattered. The video shows her running desperately through the forest. You can hear her heavy, panicked breathing and the sound of branches snapping behind her, as if something is in close pursuit. A tall, dark shadow can be seen moving between the trees with impossible speed. And then a voice, a whisper that seems to come from every direction at once, says, "Come back." In the final frame of the video, Hannah turns the camera toward herself. Her face is pale, her eyes wide with a terror that's hard to look at. And just behind her shoulder, a tall figure with no discernible face. Just an empty, dark shape. And then the footage ends. Forensic experts from across the country analyzed the audio and video evidence. Their findings only made the case more inexplicable. They discovered that the whispering voice recorded on the phone had no human frequency pattern. The shadow seen moving in the video did not match the gait or movement of any known human or animal. The freezing temperature pocket around the car couldn't be explained by any natural weather phenomenon. The deep scratches on the car door were determined to have been made by something metallic and sharp, not animal claws. In several frames of the video, investigators found distorted shapes that didn't appear in any known wildlife database. One audiovisual expert, after reviewing the footage for weeks, abruptly resigned from the case. He refused to ever speak about what he saw or heard on those recordings. To this day, Hannah Walker has never been found. There were no tracks left behind, no scent for dogs to follow, no remains ever discovered. All that is left is a collection of evidence that grows stranger and more terrifying with every passing year. The locals in Coldwater believe something roams that lonely road. Something that watches drivers who pass alone in the dead of night. Something that can mimic human voices, but isn't human. Officially, the police list Hannah Walker as a missing person. But if you ask the residents of Coldwater, they'll tell you something different. They say she didn't disappear. She was taken. And if you ever find yourself driving down Coldwater Road after midnight and the fog rolls in thick and heavy, you might just hear a faint tapping on your window, as if someone or something wants you to open the door. Thanks for watching.